to the Challenge After Show. We're talking the Challenge Season 37, Spies, Lies, and Allies, Episode 4, and it's called, Jenna, Messy.
Not Messy Fessy, just Messy.
Just Messy. They didn't throw the Fessy on there, but like they should have known we would know what they were talking about because he was he was definitely essential to the episode.
I feel like by the time the episodes went to air, they just kind of gave up on what to name the episodes. Like it was just like, I just name it Messy. Who knows? Who cares?
Yeah, well, I think they took into consideration what we complained about last season, which was we knew the outcome at the beginning of the episode. Now at least they're trying to disguise it a little bit better.
Because I think it's also just us, or mainly just you, that looks at the episode title. I don't know if anybody else ever looks at what the name of the episodes are. If you do, please comment that you do. I think people who review the show in articles refer to episode names, but...
And you're right. Before I was a host of the show, I doubt I looked at the episode title at all, ever, probably. So yeah.
Yeah,
you're right. Like when I watch a sitcom,
I wonder if I should do a quick... No, it's fine.
What?
My garbage is behind me, everyone. It's there, so.
You want to clean up?
I'm like move the garbage over, but
hey,
it's there. It's
there. Speaking of messy,
it's just actually it's on par with the episode. This episode.
Yeah.
Wow. There was a lot. There was
all right.
so much that happened.
So to me, this episode was one giant setup for the ending, but at least it paid off, Jenna. To use a term that you've coined here on the After Show, at least we got the payoff. Right?
It sure did pay off. I mean, the ending was just like the elimination, but also the person competing in the elimination, the spark they brought, and then the fight, and then the makeup afterwards. Like there were so many layers. There was so much going on.
The sequence going into the elimination at the layer, I mean, between Fessy and Josh. Too bad.
Yeah.
If Pam was here, she would have some shut up moments, that's for sure.
Yes. And we'll get into Josh because I just always feel like Josh is like a case study, right? Like every time we review an episode, I always feel like I want to put like a therapist or like a psychology magnifying glass and just be like, where is this coming from? And it's not even, for me, it's not even like a place of judgment. I get it. He's just an emotional, passionate guy. I'm always just curious, like what exactly it is that he's mad about. And that's truly just genuine interest of like what is exactly the thing that you're mad at the most. But we'll talk about that.
Well, I'll say something real quick about him. He's very emotional. He takes these friendships to heart, like they've been friends since they were like little kids or something. And like you have I don't even think he was on the same season as Fessy for Big Brother, was he? No. So they're in an alliance because they were both on the same TV show at different times in their lives, and now they have to be best friends. I know we're jumping ahead here, but I don't think there's anything wrong with Fessy. I mean, I don't know if I agree with the reason that he wants to take out Amber B, because like we talked about this pre-show, we don't even really feel like we understand why he's so untrustworthy. He finds her so untrustworthy. We really don't know why.
Yeah, and maybe our characters can help us out with this. We wanted to make sure that we knew what happened between Amber and Fessy before we talked tonight, but we literally just could not figure it out. Like, why does Fessy hate Amber so much and feel so threatened by Amber, or like she's so untrustworthy that he wanted to throw her in tonight? But from our recollections, last season, Amber's only other season on the show, even though she's like this super vet, right? She's literally only competed on one other show. And Michelle is like, so happy to see another vet down here. It's like, okay, well, she's a kind of a vet. She's
I wrote down in my notes, if she didn't win last season, I don't even know if I would consider her a vet. She was on one season, and honestly, until the end of that season, she kind of just floated along the entire last season. She didn't do anything until she had to go into an elimination, and I think it was against like a big T or someone smaller than her.
She had to do a hall brawl against the other Amber, who is like half her size. But no discredit to Amber though, because she is awesome, and I think that she works really hard, and she's definitely a kick-ass competitor. That was just a funny sidebar about her being this super vet.
Right.
But our recollections were last season, Amber picked Fessy as a partner. Fessy was mad that Amber picked him as her partner. So then just threw Amber in and got a new partner and chose.
He purposely threw himself in.
Threw himself in, correct. Sorry, threw himself in so that he would then win to be able to switch his partner and pick Casey. And that's what he did. He customized his final. So why is there bad blood against Amber? If anything, she should only be mad at you.
Correct. So yeah, and now she should really be mad at him because he definitely, I mean, he has to pick somebody. So I don't mind that he picked her. I mean, whatever. And to me, it actually added some more excitement to it. But we'll get into all that as we go on. To me, this episode was like a slow burn, as they say in the movie industry when you're watching a film. It was a very slow burn, meaning there was a lot of buildup. Nothing really, to me, this episode, nothing really happened until that elimination thing where I thought it was, everything else was kind of, to me, cut and dry. Like, okay, but the producers did get me at the end because they gave us two choices like they tend to do. But the payoff happened versus instead of it being Huey and Patina, at least it was Huey and Amber B to give me some type of more excitement.
It definitely was a spark in the season. Even though the season has been so good, we haven't seen something very unpredictable. We pretty much know an idea of who's going to go in because it's usually a rookie team or at least a tough rookie that they want to get out. But this is the first time that we actually saw somebody do something that felt like a betrayal because Fessy supposedly came back around to wanting to work with Amber and she came back around to working with Fessy.
All right,
there's the whole like remeshing.
Let's get into that, Jenna. They at the beginning of this episode, they show like Josh is talking to Amber, and then like Casey's talking to Amber, and like, or Fessy's talking to Josh, but Fessy and Amber are never in the same room. At least they don't show it. So they solved their problems without even actually confronting each other about it. So I knew right away, like I wrote it down like, oh my God, something's going to backfire here because obviously they didn't actually solve any problems. It was all hearsay from other Big Brother people trying to get this alliance to work out finally.
Yeah, that's what I thought was really funny too, because they show Amber's confessional and she's saying, I'm feeling really good about this. And she's basically, it's almost sad. She's like, all I wanted to be was accepted by Big Brother is like essentially what she's saying, right? She's like, they picked me off last season, but now I'm back in the Big Brother alliance. Like, I just want to work with them. I want this to all be okay. And it is a fair point. Like, girl, they plucked you off last season. What really makes you think they wouldn't do it again? I think that now, are they kissing your feet a little bit because you won? And also the point of her and Fessy never actually having the person-to-person confrontation about that. It makes me think if Fessy had promised Amber to her face and looked in her eyes and said, let's work together, let's have an alliance, would he have thrown her in? Because I think he's a little bit of a wussy. And I think if he promised somebody to their face, I don't know if he could then throw them in. I think the fact that they never actually talked makes him feel a little bit like tougher about it.
Yeah, but you heard Casey talk at the beginning of this episode. She's like, oh, Amber's at the end of our list of Big Brother people, though. Like, I'm going to say stuff to Josh and Fessy, but I'm not going to tell her everything. It's like, my God, why do you even want this girl on your team? You just want, like, you're going to just.
It's just a number. They're just playing her. They're really just playing her.
They really are.
And I feel bad because it's one of those things where it's like, how many times can somebody cheat on you until you break up with them, sort of thing. You know, it's like,
okay, so she's definitely done now. There's no way Amber B goes back with Fessy at this point, or maybe even, I don't even know if she's going to want to forgive Casey for this. I know that she's going to be with Josh, definitely showed his alliance towards Amber B. Mm-hmm. And I don't blame him. I think Amber B is a good competitor, like you said earlier tonight. So I don't blame Josh for wanting to try to keep that alliance together. But you and Pam the other week said, someone like Amber B should go to a bunch of rookies and try to get a new alliance brewing. And it looks like you girls nailed it because she was a little too late. I mean, luckily she stayed in the game, but she got stabbed in the back. And if she had done what you girls said a couple episodes ago, maybe she still gets stabbed in the back, but at least she has a lot of numbers on her side. So,
yeah. And the other person we put in that group of who should partner up with Amber B and do that with the rookies is Big T. And we see that she's just as vulnerable to being backstabbed by the vets, even though she is one, as Amber B. So it's so hopeful. It's such a wishful thinking strategy, but it could sadly never work because the rookies are so scared and they know the climate of the game is that the veterans are in control. So they would never like sabotage doing something against the vets. And with what happened with Michaela in the beginning, I bet they're probably all scared to be that one rookie to be like, here's how we're going to make moves. Here's how we're going to play this game. because the you never know which rookie in that room is gonna go now run off to Tori and suck her off and be like, this is what they're doing.
Yeah, well, I'll say this. Until now, you're right, but I am so excited to see the vignettes as like the small scenes at the beginning of episode 5, the next episode, because I think now, yes, the vets are going to have a very strong alliance still, but I think that some people are going to be moving on to that rookie side. I know at least Amber B. Is Josh going to go on to that? Like, what he still wants with Big Brother, but like him and Fessy, I mean, they're either going to make up next episode or they're going to like duke it out and just be done. So
yeah, I'm really, really interested to see what's going to happen with the Big Brother alliance, because Amber's not going to be a part of it anymore. But I have a feeling that Josh and Fessy are going to make up.
you do.
But you know what? You bring up a good point, because Josh is pretty like hard-headed, and he doesn't really, he is loyal to a fault. So yes, he loves Fessy. He's friends with Fessy, but he also is very prideful. So I don't know how much he will fold.
Yeah, so I want their alliance to be done. Because I mean, I can't stand Fessy, and Josh obviously annoys me too. But there's something about Josh where it makes me want to root for him just because he cares so much, like too much a lot of the times.
Yeah.
But he clearly shows that he wants to be in this game. Like, unlike some other people that I've called out over the years, like a Big T, who I think, or like, you know, and Anissa, who I think need to do more in the offseason. I feel like Josh spends his entire offseason like taking down notes of like who's he's gonna be on, who could be on my team. Like, and I appreciate that as a viewer of the show. So I hope that they split their ways. I hope that they're done. And I hope everyone goes after Fessy somehow. Because honestly, what vets like Fessy really? Like CT, Devin, Kyle, do they really want to be on a team with Fessy? No, they want to knock him out of this game because he's a strong competitor, most likely. You heard, I mean, so we can get into Devin and Kyle next, because they had a kind of a storyline tonight. I love what they talk about in this episode. Devin and Kyle admit, like, they're like, or no, it was Devin and Josh. Sorry, it's just a whole other thing. But Devin and Josh admit they're not the strongest dudes. So like, we should stick together, because they admit they're average. And there's something about that I really like them. I mean, we already knew that Devin admits that he's average.
Yeah.
Now that Josh is finally admitting it too, it's kind of nice to see, like, okay, we need to get rid of like we don't want to run a final with CT.
Yeah, that is funny that Josh admitted that, because I feel like he's always the first to say, I'm not scared of nothing. I'm not scared of anybody.
Which he just did the other episode with Kels. You know what I mean? Like, dude.
But no, but he didn't though. Like, he did in secrecy. He said it to Fessy and Devin, saying like, I know this guy's a huge threat. But then when Kels called him out, he was like, I'm not scared of you, bro. I'm not scared of you. But it's like, but you obviously are. Like, that's
and I told Pam this the other week how refreshing it would have been if Josh said, dude, you're right, I'm afraid of you. So go in there and come back and try to get me. But right now I might have an out for you. So sorry, I went for it. Then I would appreciate that honesty a lot more. But
yeah, and that's what I mean by like looking at Josh through like a psychologist lens. Because I'm just wondering, like, is he so mad at Fessy because Josh is such a loyal person and he doesn't want to be attached to somebody who shows disloyalty? Or is it like, I thought you're not doing what I want you to do? You know what I mean?
It's
is
a little bit.
I want you to do something and now you're not?
It's a mixture of both, but I think the majority of what it is the friendship that he feels that he has with Fessy. So, hey, you know what? There's people in the house. There's people in the challenge house, Jenna. There's people in your house.
Poking their heads out. Okay, I'm sorry. Please continue.
Oh, no, that's fine. So, yeah, no, I think it's a mixture of both. But I think the majority is he feels betrayed by who he thinks is like his best buddy in the world, his big brother, bro. Like, it's too much, but that's why I think he's ultimately upset.
Yeah.
He literally pleads with Fessy in the elimination. Change your vote. Change your vote. Like,
yeah. But you kind of have to love it though, because it created excitement. Like, it created something.
It's so
at the elimination for Josh
so
to freak out, like actually go running, like charging at his friend to plead with him to make him change his vote.
And Fessy is right in his saying though. Fessy says to him, says, dude, you can't save everybody. I have to pick a person. Like, that's the name of the game. And he actually, Fessy says it earlier in the episode too, to I think his partner Esther or someone else. He's like, it's the name of the game. Like, people are gonna pick someone. It could be your name eventually. There's only so many names in this basket to pick from. You probably
Sometimes I feel so emotionless and dead inside that I wish that I could feel the way Josh feels about everything, about anything. You know, like the way I'm like, wow, he really cares about.
So my brother brought this up with me years ago because I'm like, I was probably, in my late 20s at the time, and we're playing like a board. I want to play a board game with the whole family and the whole group.
Oh
And
no.
and Jeff, my brother, doesn't want to play the board game. And I get like,
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's gonna be so much
So
fun,
mad.
dude. Like, come on. And Jeff goes, dude, I wish I could get that. I wish I could get excited like you do over a board game. He's like, I don't get excited like you do. And like, I want to play video games with him. Like, I never play video games ever anymore. But like when I get family together for Christmas, I'm like, can we all play video games like the old times? Because I get excited. And Jeff just doesn't get, my brother doesn't get excited like he used to. And he's like, dude, I wish I could get excited like you still do over this crap.
Yeah.
But it's kind of in that regard. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. So the Devin and Kyle thing, well, do we want to talk about the daily challenge first and then Devin and Kyle? Because it kind of stems from that. But
so like they set it up. They set it up that Devin and Kyle's name is Kyle. That's the big thing. And then we can get into the daily. That's all it was. And all these little vignettes that they show, Jenna, every week I'm like, they're obviously trying to foreshadow something with every vignette. And people like, oh, like Pam's like, I had no idea that was coming. Like she tells me, I'm like, yeah, it's all in the vignette. The whole episode storyline, they're trying to give you exactly what's going to happen. But anyway,
I know it's sad. I don't want to be that like privy to it though, because then now every time you see anybody, you're always going to think, oh God, that person's going home.
That's what I think Pam does. Pam tries to ignore the vignettes, so she likes to be surprised. But it's so cut and dry. Like they showed all of this here. They even showed CT and Huey working out to show that Huey, like, is he athletic? Is he not? We're underestimating him. And then later on, who underestimates him? Coriel. I mean, it's all right here in the layout. It's all shown right here.
He did legit underestimate him.
Yeah.
And Huey put a fire under his ass and it was awesome. But we will get to that.
Yes. Daily challenge. Undercover comms. They got to rig. They got to do these codes. They got to transmit these codes through walkie-talkie. They're 35 feet in the air. It seems, the idea of them being in the air seemed cool. What did you think of the challenge before I give you my thoughts?
I love the challenge. I think
of course you did. You always love the challenge.
It was really fun. It looked like it was really challenging. Like I was surprised that Coriel actually struggled so much. While we're on the subject of Coriel, I love Huey because Huey just has like such a chaotic energy, but still always does what he needs to. Like he still jumped off the cliff last episode. He's terrified of heights. He's still hanging from the edge. Like I'm almost thinking, then why the F isn't Ashley doing it then? If he's so terrified of heights, and it's funny, right? Because everybody's getting bombed left and right and falling off, but no one is bombing Huey. So this guy who's terrified of heights is still hanging on for dear life.
He's not even doing anything. Ashley went and guessed the code and got it right. I wrote down in my notes, Ashley is the worst partner for someone like Huey. And I want to say
I could agree for most people.
Fair enough.
Ashley's good in a solo game.
But I want to say this conspiracy here where they somehow, producers were like, we got to try to get Ashley with Huey based on Huey's interview tapes. Like he's got a lot of emotion based on Ashley's past. She's like someone said tonight, and he says she's like a 2-year-old. She just gets mad in 2 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
Them coming together, just the stars aligned because it gives you guaranteed drama every week, and now we're not going to get that, but that's fine. It ran its course, I would like to say.
So I take it that you didn't love the game. You didn't love.
I was pretty.
The challenge.
Yeah, I was pretty bored watching it. The way that they got released from the thing, the daily challenge, not the entire episode, of course.
Yeah.
The way they got released and fell like 35 feet in the water. It just seemed like there was no like when Leroy tried to jump from that car and did like a spinning back thing. Like there was no, they just dropped nicely into the water. There was no like crazy falls. A lot of sitting around there.
But I think that there was a lot of stuff happening within, like it was a really fast game. And I didn't realize until the game had already started that if you get one bomb, you're out because you have to detonate 3. So as a team, in order to win, you have to detonate 3, but you also only need 1 against you to fall. So it's a really quick game. So if you don't win, like the fact that the winning teams, Amber and Josh, crushed it, the fact that they did it so quickly also without getting bombed, like it's not only a race to win, it's a race to just like outcompete anybody who's gunning for you. So I thought that was kind of a good element.
Yeah, which brings me to my point. I don't know how Coriel and Michelle thought they had any chance of winning that challenge, because they were talking, oh yeah, today's the day, we're gonna win it, we're gonna change it, so we're gonna be in there. Like, do you guys know how the game works? Only one person has to solve the code before you, and even if a couple people solve it, like if you solve a couple before they do, only one team has to switch you and you're done. There's no, there was a 0% chance, and I never say that they win.
They're really, really determined and optimistic, which is good. But plenty of people have gone up there in front of the camera and been like, we know that we're going to lose. Like, we know we have no shot. But they were like, no, we must. The weight of the world is on our back. So they like really thought that they were going to do something. Esther is just a beast. I love Esther so much. The worst thing about Esther is that she's partnered with Fessy. So every time I'm like, yes, Esther, get it, girl. And then I'm like, oh, damn. So Fessy has to win.
Who's right next to her. I picked Fester. Oh, that's a good name for them.
That's a good name, though.
I picked Esther and Fessy. They were one of my top teams. I said if all the teams stayed the same throughout the game, I squared a couple that I thought were like they could make it to a final, and that was one of the ones I picked. And like you find out tonight that she studied law. Like this girl you keep finding more and more things that she can bring to the table and like have that top 5 things of endurance, strength, social game, puzzles, and the other one that we have swimming, to have our 5 things. So she keeps getting more things on that list to make her a dominant player.
Yeah, and I think her and Fessy actually do work really well together. So they're a very strong partnership because I think he recognizes her strengths and her worth as a competitor. And so he doesn't like think that he's above her. Like I think in the last season, he thought that he was above his other female competitors, which is fucked up and made him a poor partner. But I think he's so like blown away with her that they actually.
If she doesn't show weakness, they are going to be a tough team to beat, because I do think if Esther goes into an elimination, because she's more likely than Fessy possibly.
But she's really strong-willed too. Like I think in a respectable way that she puts people in their place, and she did that with Fessy, as we see later on after they win. She's like, I'm not going to make myself vulnerable to have the whole house hate me just to help you. Like you're going to be fine.
But I do think if Esther went to elimination and she won, she would pick Fessy to come back. I don't think she'd change partners.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he's strong. If he works well with you, then he is a good partner. And I don't know, like in most categories, but socially, I don't think so. Social game, political game, I really don't think that he has that box checked. So I don't know.
It definitely hurt him having Amber B come back now. And I think that maybe next week we see the house turn on Fessy. Maybe all the vets are like, all right, well, we really like Amber B and we don't want to lose her in our alliance, right? We don't want Amber B to go to the rookies. So, hey, Amber, come back with us. We'll alienate Fessy.
You think so?
I don't know. That's what I want to happen.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't want to see that happen? You'd prefer that Fessy stays with like all the vets?
No, it's not that I prefer it. I just wonder how it's going to shake out. Because I think that there's some sort of like fear element. There's something that the vets have with Fessy that even though he's done them wrong, like Nelson seems to have forgiven him. Corey forgave him in a minute after Fessy threw in Nelson last season. Like they seem to come back around on Fessy. So I don't know if it's like, oh, he's so brawn, he's so strong that like we don't want to piss him off. I don't know what it is. It's just they seem to get a good rapport with him once again, So
I think that like a Devin and a Josh, when they're sitting down, they said like CT's a big guy, we don't want to run a final with him. Couldn't they say the same damn thing about Fessy too?
Yeah.
And make those guys somehow go against each other? They know they don't want those guys in the final with them.
I wonder if Josh's friendship with Devin will now become stronger than his friendship with Fessy. Like, do you think that Josh will actually finally be fed up with Fessy?
Yeah,
like to your point.
I think Devin has a lot of respect for Amber B, so I think Devin's going to be like, yo, Josh, Amber B, come with me. Let's make this happen, you know?
Yeah.
And Devin just got picked up tonight by someone new. Devin's with Amber B.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. While we're on the subject of Devin and the daily challenge, should we talk about heat number 2, which included Devin and Kyle? So this is their strategy. I want to know what you think about the strategy. So apparently the entirety of the veterans of heat number 2 get together and say, hey, whoever's winning, just let them win and bomb the people who are losing. So at least a veteran wins, which, I mean, sounds pretty good in theory, right?
This game is a little too complicated for that, though. I feel like how am I not to jump to Kyle's defense, because he's smart enough he could have picked anybody but Devin, because that's supposed to be his number one guy.
Yeah.
But how do you know how many people have solved all the codes? Like we're all still in the game because you're out once. It's not like they have check marks like we've solved 2. Okay, I'll leave them alone. I'll go to the guy that only solved 1 and get them out. So in the moment, Kyle, yes, the only person you could have picked to make this bad was Devin, and that's who you chose. Anybody else left on that board, it wouldn't have mattered. But for some reason, since Devin's your best, but I feel like everyone was basically tied in the game. They all solved 1, 1, 1, 1. Then they all solved 2, 2 codes, and then it just came down to that third code. But so that's my opinion on it. But why? What were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, because I agree with you that I think that it was good in theory, but once you saw the game kick off, it was going really fast.
Yeah.
However, Kyle, if that's his best friend, then at that point, I guess you kind of have to pick anybody else, because then Kyle shot himself in the foot after, because he said, I didn't even know who was winning. I didn't know who had the most bombs. All I knew was I wanted to win. So if that's the case, then you did single out Devin. Right. If all you wanted to do was win, then it didn't fucking matter who else was winning. Then you could have gone for Fessy or Esther, whoever else was there. So it really does seem like he singled out Devin, which is weird. So I understand being like the heat of the moment, or like not knowing what the score was. But then in that case, just pick anybody else but your best friend, because you truly did go against your best friend in the game.
If it was the final pull of the game and it's Devin versus you, yeah, why? Who the hell cares?
Right.
But and people are asking, was it on purpose? Was it in the heat of the moment? To me, it was in the heat of the moment. He got a little flustered and he wasn't thinking straight. And there's 2 names written down. There's Devin was with who? With Emmy. Devin's with Emmy at this
point. And I would believe that, but later on he says he didn't care. He just wanted to win. So I think he did know it was Devin.
That was in a confessional, right? Though, correct?
Yeah, which is well after.
Right, so I'm thinking it's more of he's just saving his ass.
I'm thinking he saw that it was Devin's name and he was like, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, and like this whole dial thing, like when did they film all that BS? Like could that have been done like early, like 3 episodes earlier, and they've kind of like grown apart a little bit? Now we're like just bringing it up like they're best buddies again. But they seem to be ride or die the last couple seasons. Not ride or die, but like together the last couple seasons.
I don't think that either of them would ever say each other's names unless it was like absolutely the last possible option. So that's why it is weird. Like you must see Devin's name there and you put your bomb and you detonated your best friend. Like you had to have seen his name, but maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't. I don't know.
He saw the name Emmy and it's like rookie, and just pulled it.
Because at first, as it was unfolding, I was on Kyle's side because I didn't think that Devin and Emmy were in the lead. I thought Fessy and Esther were. So in theory, as their strategy says, don't go for the person that's winning. So I thought Esther and Fessy had 2 bombs and Devin only had 1. So of course it's like, well, Devin's losing, so I'll get Devin out. But then
was Devin definitely in the lead though? I feel like that's
no, I don't think so.
I have no idea who the hell was really in the lead there anyways. So it was so close.
Yeah.
Did it really affect the game? Not at all either.
Yeah. And Devin wasn't, I mean, he handled it well enough.
Yes.
It wasn't like a Josh emotional reaction.
Well, because he made a joke. He knew it was kind of silly because they still got the win, that they still got someone in their alliance to win. They still got the Fessy win there. So it technically, it didn't matter that he did it. He was just like, dude, you got to think a little bit more about it. He kind of made a joke about it, as Devin likes to do, which I appreciated it, not being such a Josh. Because it's nice, Devin reacts a certain way, but then you do get the Josh moments. You get a little bit of both, like 2 different kinds of fights, which was nice this episode.
Yeah. And I think it all just depends on like your mental state that day. You know, like you're in this challenge house. You've heard them all say that it's like an incubator. It's just a recipe for disaster. You don't have real world. You don't know what's happening in the real world. You can't talk to your best friends. You can't talk to your family. So I feel like it really just depends on, am I okay today? Am I going to explode, or do I have my shit together today and I can handle this? But for someone like Devin, I mean, this forces him to, now he has to rethink and restructure his whole game if Kyle is going to be that much of a liability, because he thought if he had one thing for certain, it was his best friend Kyle, and now he saw that that is not 100%, that's not certain. So now I have to rethink who I actually am allied with.
It'll be a forgive and not forget type of moment. Like, I think he's like, hey, we're cool again, but if it happens again, I think we need to split up.
That's like, well, fool me twice, right? Fool me twice, shame on me.
So he's doing it. He's letting it get away. He's letting him get away with it one time here, and then we'll see what happens in the future. Do you want to go to the club, or do you have anything else about the date?
That was fun because I feel like they actually went to a club. You know, like there obviously wasn't other people there, but I think that they actually like relocated where they were. So that's cool.
The house, I thought, no?
Oh, I thought, I mean, I don't know. I thought that they entered.
They go down a long hallway in the house. I think that's all they're doing. I think it's just at the end of the house.
Really?
Remember they talked in that aftermath show before the show ever aired. They said how long and big the house was. So there's a lot of different. So maybe the club could be an area where you could sneak off to and do stuff.
Okay.
Did you hear the song they entered the club with?
Oh, Backstreet. It's Backstreet Boys, right?
In
I think.
Yeah.
No, Backstreet Boys.
It was NSYNC.
Oh, that's NSYNC. You're right.
I ever wanted. Because I want you back. I'm pretty sure it's. Okay,
baby. I can't remember.
Tell us in the comments if it's. I'm pretty sure I saw that it was NSYNC, but anyway.
Then yeah, it's gotta be.
Get in sync about who was playing in the club that night. So a bunch of random little things happened in the club. Anything that stuck out to you? I like Coriel was like, I know we're going in, Fessy. Can you give me, this is where he says, can you give me Huey? And for a girl, he actually wanted Bettina to go in because he thought that she might be weak. I don't know anything about Bettina yet. She could very well be very weak. We know nothing about this girl yet.
It's one of those situations of like that early in the game, it being your first season, you do want to make the best situation for yourself to win. And how else do you do that other than like judge what you can see of other people? So it's fucked up because he underestimated Huey, but also it's like, who else would he have said in that situation? You know?
Mean, the rookies that Fessy would even give him an opportunity to go against would be Gabo and Emmanuel. And then if you line up Gabo, Emmanuel, and Huey, it's process of elimination. And yes, Huey's definitely proving himself, but he's also proving every week that he freaks out and it's going to get the better of him. Even during the elimination tonight, they were like, you need to focus. He doesn't have that focus. So if I'm looking at a Gabo who he just looks pretty beefy, and then we have Emmanuel who he's all tatted up, and then you have Huey. I mean, I know Corey apologized for it and stuff, but like I think Huey was the right choice. And yes, Huey proved himself, and more power to Huey for doing that. But I think that Corey had the right person. Like he had the best opportunity to go against Huey and win, I think, personally.
I don't know. I think that he was thinking he was making the right choice because it really is a hard judgment call. Because really, what do you know enough about everybody to really make that call?
I think the fear that goes into people most of the time is it's going to be a hall brawl. It's going to be a strength thing. It's going to be, I have to beat somebody up. So you pick.
And it almost never is. Unless you're Fessy and you get it twice in one season.
Which is garbage. But so then you pick the person that has a smaller stature just by nature. Now, honestly, I think if he picked Gabo to go in there, Gabo, I don't think can think himself out of a cardboard box. So I think being a metal thing, I think he would have destroyed Gabo. I think Gabo would have had no idea how to maneuver the metal around the metal. So, but I also think that Coriel doesn't want to do a headbanger against Gabo. So that's why he went and said Huey's name. So.
It's funny though, because Huey is not weak by any means, like even stature wise, like he has have you seen his
but he's not your typical like beefy guy or cut up guy. He's just kind of a, I don't want to say blob is not a nice word to use, but he's just there. He just has a very dad bod. I don't even know what to call a dad bod. He's not even that.
Because I think he looks. Yeah, no, I know what you're getting at.
I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just.
He definitely has strong legs and glutes. So there's that.
Well,
but I actually love, in a roundabout full circle way, I love that Corey L wanted to go in against Huey, because it proves just how good Huey can be at this and how like fiery he gets when he's thrown in. And I feel like, and you were saying this earlier about how they must have matched Ashley and Huey together, because I feel like they have a little bit of the same energy. Like they're pretty chaotic, but then they can also just like compete. But they compete like through their own chaotic energy.
Yeah.
Like Ashley does the same shit where she's like screaming at people, she's crying, but like while she's competing. And Huey couldn't help himself during the elimination to stop and start talking shit to Corey. And I mean, as a spectator, I loved it.
Do you want to jump ahead to the elimination because we're in there, or do you want to talk about nominations? Because nominations to me was basically we knew who was going in. They had a bunch of fake news in the middle, and then we got the exact same result after 20 minutes of BS deliberation.
Yeah, nominations to me was just a little bit stressful because I was thinking about what I would do in that situation. And I just like, how do you state your case? Everybody wants you to plead for yourself, but it's like, how do you do that without making yourself seem like such a suck up? So I just don't really, I mean, I guess you could present a good thought, but people, to Huey's point, they're just going to do what they want to do at the end of the day anyway. Like, and I don't want to make that sound like a weak mentality, like why even bother? Don't bother. Right. But it's like, they know who they're going to vote for when they go into a deliberation. It's very rare that you're making a change.
And if you're one of those rookies that's paired with a vet that's well established, why would you open your mouth? You might just make things worse.
Exactly. So, like a strategy to the game and deliberations is flying under the radar. And once you open your mouth in deliberation and you start fighting with people, then your target kind of gets a little bit bigger. Yeah, you bring attention to yourself.
Right. You saw Huey, he opened his mouth because people wouldn't stop like saying, like, do you want to say something? Do you want to say something? And he was like, okay, I'll say something. And then boom, he's in an elimination that night, and it made it worse for him. But I mean, potentially he was going in no matter what. But I mean, it did draw more attention to him saying the things that he said. So.
Yeah, because it's almost like at that point, what were you wanting Huey to say? You wanted him to bring what, like an ultimatum? You wanted him to bring some like scorching hot gossip from the house? Like, what would have Nelson or whoever said it? What would have changed your vote?
Right. Nothing.
I don't know. But,
he didn't have anything that could sway anything. So it was.
Yeah.
These nomination ceremonies, I got so like next week we see that, and Josh made a good move here. He knew that they could get two rookies to go together, and it's Emmy and Gabo are now together just based on the decision that he had Amber B choose Devin, so that way Emmy and Gabo had their partners stolen, are now together. So like, do I already know that? Is this too obvious that they're going to definitely guaranteed Emmy and Gabo now are in the elimination next week? Am I guaranteed that? Because I'm pretty sure I am.
Yeah.
And that kind of sucks. And that's the stuff that Pam hates. And that's the stuff that we were worried about at the beginning of the season when Devin had said there's an ultimate alliance, because we're literally can figure out who's in the next week's elimination now.
Well, what's funny about that is that I guess it's the veteran strategy just to get them to the final, to get them to the next episode. And not saying Emmy and Gabo are bad because we haven't seen everything that we could see of them, but I just feel like they're picking off, again, weak teams instead of going for stronger competitors who could beat them in the final. But I guess it's like they have to play short game first, right? Like they have to just
short game of just get as many rookies as we can. And then we're going to have to, I mean, obviously they're going to go against each other eventually.
Yeah. Because it's too soon to put in a stronger team.
Maybe next week's the week they start going after each other even more. I mean, obviously Fessy started it tonight. Fessy made the first move. And you know what? For all the crap we're giving Fessy, at least he got it to be exciting. He threw Amber B in there, which is obviously a change of pace. And now, boom, maybe this starts it unravels and we get more vets having to go into eliminations. And the season would get more exciting. But I feel like next week it's going to be Emmy and Gabo, and then they're going to somehow try to get 2 more rookies to go in against Emmy and Gabo, and then
Yeah. What did you think about this elimination though? Like the game was really interesting, and it's one that probably didn't have to look as entertaining on TV. Like maybe it wouldn't have been like portrayed on TV well, but it was really, really exciting to watch.
It was entertaining for multiple reasons. Corey, for some reason, couldn't figure out his handcuff situation. Not Gabo. Huey drops the key at one point, and obviously there's bickering back and forth. I mean, they are going at each other, and the lines they're saying, they're funny lines. Like
Yes.
it had everything.
Like fuck you, Corey, fuck you the whole time. But the whole thing with the carabiner getting stuck, it almost felt like MTV or Bunin and Murray, however, the production company, they were trying to break the fourth wall a little bit, which was kind of cool. Like in past eliminations, we always hear about some sketchy stuff after the fact, right? Like cast members will always say, what you didn't see was Josh straightened his legs when he wasn't supposed to, or like Cam's bracelet got stuck. Like they always say sketchy things after, and you're like, wait, well, was there a penalty we missed, or was there like a fault in the games or the equipment for this person and not this person? But that was kind of cool, where it felt like the music went dead and you just heard Michelle freaking out, like my carabiner stuck. No, it's legitimately stuck. It's stuck. It's stuck. And I was thinking,
yelling that to the producers. She was clearly,
clearly.
We've seen it sometimes before, but I want more of that. I mean, if it's happening, I think you show the whole damn thing. I want to see we all want to see the behind the scenes stuff. I feel like MTV's a little too afraid to show us all of it, but yeah.
But that's what I thought was kind of cool, that I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to stop this? Like, this kind of sucks. Huey and Amber are killing it. And I really wanted Huey and Amber to win, because I wanted like a fuck you, Fessy, don't throw Amber in, and Huey, prove yourself. But the way that they were playing it, I was like, oh my gosh, are they going to stop this whole game because their carabiner is stuck?
But I think the reason they didn't is because that was bound to happen. I think it could have happened, just depending on the way you twist. We don't even know, how is this carabiner stuck? I mean, I think he just got his arm twisted the wrong way. Like it's part of the game. I don't think it was one of those things where it was a malfunction of the game. I think just all the different types of metal colliding in the way that it was, you're not going to get a smooth transition. They're lucky they purposely added that rain in there to try to make it more smooth for them. I bet they did a pre-trial with random people, because they do the test runs of it with no rain.
A bad job.
I know, right? They did it probably in the rain, and they were like, oh, this is getting stuck. We need something slick to loosen up all these different intertwining metal. And that's why I think they added rain to the challenge.
And that's why I love that Huey, that's what sparks the whole thing, because he starts screaming back at them. And I know you could make the point, just stay focused, finish the elimination, which yes, it is very important, because I was thinking that. I was like, Huey, come on, just win first, just win. But at the same time, I kind of love that he was like, shut up. I had the same thing wrong with my carabiner and we got through it.
But the other line of that was great. He's like, the only reason you're mad, Corey, is because you wanted me down here, and now I'm beating your ass. He said. I was like, that's good stuff. And that made everybody laugh too.
And then he drops the key. And I'm like, no, this is it. It's game is over. But thank God he's so flexible.
My conspiracy for that was they went right to a commercial break when they like, where's the key? Where's the key? It's not too far away. And I think that very quickly he put his leg out, pulled it back in. I bet it was like a 5-second time. That's it. They made it sound like it was like 30 seconds of them like, we don't know, we can't finish this game. And then Michelle in the professionals like, oh, now here's the time where we catch up. I don't think it was ever that close personally, but they did.
It definitely got me. I was like, damn, I think they're gonna have to go back and double back to what they've already done.
Yeah, but you heard Amber B. She's like, oh, it's right there. Like, it's right there. And then Huey, I think, boom, leg out, swiped it back in. I think it was maybe a 5-second delay.
Yeah.
It wasn't as long as they made it seem like. It was like when they did Josh dirty with him not being able to throw the balls in the thing. But then again, I think that was a little bit longer.
I was glad that Huey thought to just use his leg instead of going back and was flexible enough to even do it, because that's what I was thinking in my head. I'm like, ooh, that's a quick fix. Like just grab it with your foot. Like don't go back all the way through the pipes, because that would have taken too long.
Huey, I think he's had a lot of things go his way, but I also think that he is a pretty decent competitor. Like, I mean, he did not show up for the challenge. Yes, he won the elimination, but let's also realize during the daily challenge today, he did absolutely nothing. And I don't want to just like go by that like that never happened. He sat up there and didn't move. And Ashley literally had a guess just to get one capsule to get someone out. And she got Nelson, which was kind of fun.
Yes.
But literally, he didn't move. And we're like, everyone's like, oh, let's forget about that and just focus on his big elimination win. But like, that's what's going to bite him in the ass. Is he has a great elimination, but then he could have another awful daily. And then if he has another awful elimination where he's afraid or just can't do it, he's out. He's going to be done.
Yeah, that's true. He's definitely hit or miss. He hasn't shown consistency yet, but it's also like episode 4 of the new season.
Very early on.
But I feel like he also was just so full of spite and rage. Amber B is great. No discredit to her, but I felt like Huey was legit dragging her through half of that pipe just because he was so pissed off for most of it.
But she did get him to focus that one time on the way back.
Yeah.
Which was really good.
No, she did great too. I just felt like he was going to make that happen whether she was doing it with him or not, basically. But she had the final touch, the flip over to get the last... Yeah, to get through that last little pipe situation, the way she flipped over, I was like, genius, amazing, acrobat queen.
I was a little upset by the way Coriel performed in the elimination. I thought that he, instead of trying to persevere through a tough situation, him and Michelle just went to the old, something's wrong.
And I think they freaked out
too much. It was disappointing. I didn't like, because I was rooting for him. Oh, that's good. Here we go. I was rooting for Corey and Michelle at the start because I just thought that they'd been picked on a lot and I wanted to see them come back and prove everybody wrong. But then I don't know what happened, but about halfway through the elimination, I switched 100% and I was rooting for Huey and Amber B. I don't know what happened. And I rooted for them the rest of the way through. So
yeah, I wish it's one of those eliminations where I wish both teams could have stayed because I do like Michelle and Coriel, but I am just so fulfilled and happy that Amber and Huey won because I was definitely rooting for them first. It's got to be one of those things though, like that's such a weird sensation. That's nothing you've ever done before that you do want to just blame it on the equipment, like not being able to get through it. You're like, what's going on here? Like, why is this so hard? Are you sure it's us?
Yeah, they had a bunch of little random pegs placed throughout too, like little things where they had to get around these little pegs on the metal. I'm still not even sure what they really had to do. Like, was there a hole in the middle or I don't get it. No, like, I mean a hole in the middle of the, like there was a hole and then the two poles coming out up together. I mean, it seems really janky and like, that's gonna be hard to maneuver that through.
Yeah, that's why it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't want it to be a complaint, but I feel like if I was them, I might be like, what is this? Why isn't it going? Are we doing this right? Are you sure it's us?
I think it was more of a finesse move they needed to do throughout it instead of like a strength move. We're like, let's just rip through this thing. No, I think it was more of a puzzle where you got to finesse your way around all these curvatures and stuff. So
yeah.
And they were much more smooth, I thought, the other team, Amber B and Huey. They were smooth with their movements.
I thought it was funny at the end when Huey and Amber won, and then Huey and Coriel get in a fight, but then TJ breaks it up and says you have to win gracefully, which I feel like I'm all for the anti-violence, but it wasn't really that bad, in my opinion.
Yeah, so we've seen people not be very gracious when they won. But they more did it to the people they would do it to the people that voted them down there. And they'd get mad at them and say, screw you. So I think TJ was more like, well, show your competitor good sportsmanship. Yeah, they over, yell at them at the end, that's fine. But I think he was more upset. And you know what? I don't want to say we're getting soft as a society, but you know what? I'm with you, Jenna. It wasn't that bad, and I wanted to see more of it.
I guess he shouldn't have pushed him, but I was like,
who cares? Push him a little bit. I'm so I know. And then they'd like, yes, okay. So we can also talk about the fact that they're both gay men and maybe they should be in this alliance together because they've been supposedly picked on by society and all this stuff. I get it. But do you have to like every single person that looks just like you or has the same beliefs as you just because you've gone through the same type of stuff? I don't think you have to, personally.
Yeah, I really liked how that came around
I
again
do
in a
too.
full
I wrote
circle
that down.
way.
Like, I'm glad that they were able to, hey, we should be sticking together. We've gone through a lot of the same things in life, but at the same time,
Yeah, because I think you make definitely a fair point that like you don't have to be best friends with everybody or be on the same team as anybody just because of like whatever gender, sexual orientation, whatever the case may be. But I do think it is a good bonding moment. And I did actually think that the whole episode, I was like, why aren't they working together? Like,
right,
why wouldn't they come together? Because Corey L said, like episode 1, he said a lot of people think that I'm not strong or I'm not like jockish or I'm not a competitor just because I'm gay and I'm here to prove them wrong. And then he didn't really work with Huey in that way. And he
right.
almost underestimated Huey. And that's why it was a good, like reflective, sweet moment because again, we're all human and flawed. And he caught himself and he was like, I did to Huey what people have done to me. And you could see that he was so hurt by it because he realized he cast the same judgment, So I feel like it was just a good, like, human moment.
It was kind of both their faults because who started the fight when they were going through and Corey was like, I can't get it. I believe that Huey was the first person to yell to Corey, hey, it happened to mine too, or whatever, So in a way, like Corey wasn't yelling at Huey first. He was yelling to the producers, like, I need help here. I don't, whatever, which I don't think he should have gotten help for that. But yeah, so Huey kind of started it in that regard. And then Corey wasn't going to, and you're in a moment where you're frustrated. You're going to yell something back at someone. It's human nature. I would have done the same damn thing. And I thought it was very big of Corey at the end there because Huey did say some, mean stuff to him. But then Corey kind of started too because Corey wanted Huey in there against him because he thought he was weak. It was both. So, yeah.
I think it's like it was just sad because it's like a hurt people type of situation. So I feel like they were fighting each other because they just felt so hurt by each other because they realized they both should have the same understanding. Like they do have this bond that they have these shared experiences of feeling like hurt and discrimination in society. And they realize that they should have came together, but they were like so hurt by each other for not coming together. So I feel like they were taking it out on each other. So it was good that they ended up.
Jenna, that's kind of like the season that's happening right now. It's just this rookie on rookie violence, if you want to call it that, where they
should be sticking together.
The vets are doing this to them. The vets are separating them into like here you go here, you go here. We're going to eliminate you at this time. You can stay for a little bit. Now you're eliminated. Like so the vets are kind of causing these fights against rookies where they need to be coming together and they're just not. And I'm really hoping after this episode that they all are like, look what's happening. Like we gotta change the game here. It's not right.
Yeah. So I love like the ending moments because it was really sweet how they brought it back together and they ended up hugging and realized like, but then it's like, damn, if only you guys would have worked together this whole damn time.
Wow. But then again, we can say that about any of the rookies though, Jenna, too, right?
Yeah.
All of the rookies should be working together. Because
that's such a sad lost cause. Like they didn't want to, I don't think they were ready to think about the game from a competition perspective when they entered the house though. Like they're just green, they're wide-eyed, they're like, I'm on this new TV show, I'm on this new challenge. They're not thinking like, okay, let's enter the house, let's all join hands. We're not talking to the vets, we're not gonna make alliances with them.
What the game's gonna be yet. You don't even know what the partners are gonna be, or if it's gonna be a massive team game, or if it's gonna be an individual game. You didn't know. The vets obviously have a huge advantage coming into this game. So
are you excited to see Josh and Ashley be a partnership?
Is it Josh?
Because now they're partners.
Yeah, Ashley and Josh. Oh, yeah, that's right. Wow, that's going to be another rough one for Ashley.
I'm really excited. I think
Josh might perform a little bit better than Huey, or he won't come off as like afraid to do something. So maybe that'll. But if he starts messing up in a game, I mean, of course, that's gonna be some great drama. And Pam's going to be all about Team Ashley on anything that Josh does. Pam's gonna jump right onto the Team Ashley thing. So that'll be.
I'm just excited to see them together because I feel like they are both very big personalities.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be interesting partnership. I think Nani's a little bit upset that she lost Gabo because Gabo was kind of flying on the radar and no one's really going after him.
Right.
So,
Gabo just went from hero to zero. He went from coasting. No one even knows his name. We forget he's even on the show.
yeah.
And now he's literally going to be off the show next week.
He's literally going to get his episode is next week. Everyone tune in to watch Gabo. If he wins the elimination, more power to him, but he's going to be in an elimination. You can mark my words there. I really think it's him in an elimination. And you know what? There's like, if you do the math on the rookies, there's really not that many rookies left. You got Emmanuel and Gabo, and then and Huey, and then for the girls, you have
a lot of girls.
You have Esther. You have this girl Priscilla. You have Bettina, who just has the annoying laugh, and we don't know anything else about her. And then who else do you have?
Berna and Emmy. So there's a lot of them.
I mean, well, there's 4 versus 3, but yeah, I mean, either way, there's 7 rookies left, and the rest are, well, maybe they could be more at this point, but around 7 rookies left. I mean, that's interesting.
Well, then hopefully something interesting that will happen is seeing how the vets decide to pick each other off.
I really hope they turn.
When the vet alliances get smaller, because I think for the most part, right now, they're such a dominant force because they're a huge alliance with numbers. Yeah. But when you look at it, the alliances within the big vet alliance are pretty small. Like, I know that Tori and Anissa are besties, and Ashley and Amanda are besties. And then there's like Nelson and Corey. So there's really tight friendships between that, but how do they? They're all
gonna have to separate once if they don't. Once the rookies are gone, they'll separate. If not, they might just do it beforehand because there are tight knit groups of vets. But I also think we have to take into consideration, like Tommy just went home last week for a concussion, right? I'm worried about more medical DQs. I'm worried about fights because if you even touch if Corey L. Here's a conspiracy for you. If Coriel won that elimination and then pushed Gabo, and then pushed Huey, do they give the win to Huey and then Coriel goes home for pushing him? I bet they do. You can't even touch anybody anymore on this damn show. So I'm telling you, I'm worried about medical DQs. I'm worried about people getting sent home for doing stupid shit when they're drunk. So that's going to affect the game as well, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. When someone has a threesome, they'll probably get kicked out.
You can't kiss anybody anymore.
No.
No more kissing. If the show ever goes to that, it's
on. Flames. Out of here.
Done. Everyone's out.
All
right. I think we did a great job.
I think we just about covered it.
Yeah. Well, tune in next week, guys, for episode 5. I don't know what it's called yet, but I'll let you guys know. Everyone hit up Pamela on her social media or in the comment section and wish her a happy wedding week because she's got a wedding this weekend and then she's got her honeymoon the following week or whatever. So she's going to be a busy lady.
I can't believe she's not here tonight on her wedding.
How could she? How dare she? She should be wearing her wedding dress on the show right now.
Try it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Show it off to the fans.
Show it off to the fans.
To the fans. To the fans. Ew.
we have some fans. If you're a fan of the show, hashtag Pamela's wedding in the comment section.
Yes. If you're a friend of ours, is what you are. If
you're a friend of the YouTube show, yes. All right.
All right, friend.
All right, friends. See y'all next week. Bye.